Uh, Good evening. Welcome to Hashtag Got Money. Gee, Georgia Ellis. What to say about Georgia Ellis? Blue chip minds, smart woman, has joined me on Got Money Life for the last, how long have you been coming on the show, Georgia? 3 years?
Oh, I don't know. Potentially, because there's lots of different shows that you host, and I know I've been across a number of those. So
You did Hot
let's
Entrepreneur
say
with
two to
me.
3 years.
2 to 3 years, Hot Entrepreneur, and always my go-to on Got Money. Your Georgia, I already know a lot about you. For our audience, why don't you just unpack what you do?
Yeah, cool. So in simplest terms, what my aim and what my passion is to wake people up to their potential, basically. So help them really dive into bringing out the best of themselves. And that involves doing corporate training, one-on-one coaching, group coaching, workshops, masterclasses, you name it. So that's how I do it in a really simple way of putting it. And I look at all the different aspects of how we show up in life as human beings and how we can bring out the best and actually start to really focus on what we want for a better future for ourselves.
I just interviewed Nikki Hutley, and she was talking about the loosening of the restrictions in New South Wales and in Queensland. And I asked her about it economically, and she said, it's not just the economics. She said it's mental health and connection and being with each other. And I think that's, if we look at the last 2 months, I've really missed my family. I've really missed being around my friends and having that connection. And you work in that space where, if I speak to you on the phone for 5 minutes, I feel better about the experience. So you're an advocate for how people feel about themselves, but also how they create new possibility. And you're up to something, aren't you? I got an invitation from you the other day, and I thought, oh, Georgia Ellis is up to something. Tell us what you're up to.
Yeah, absolutely. So I was actually, it's interesting how this thing that I'm up to came about. In the past, before COVID, I would run a couple of programs a year or masterclasses a year live for people to attend, because most of my work is done through corporations. And I had this idea that this masterclass, no one could attend anymore because it's something that would have live in a hotel or in a venue. So I transferred and pivoted and made that available online. And so that's what I'm up to, is bringing the work that I would normally do face to face to people to be able to still do the work. But the beauty of it is, instead of over one day, we do it over 7 weeks. So you really get to do a deep dive into who you are, into the opportunities that are presented to you right now. And we help people unpack the opportunities that are in front of us that sometimes we can't see, and then move forward towards, a better future for ourselves. And I'm really excited by it. I've had my first cohort sign up. We sold out within 6 days with the first one. We only do small cohorts. So it's not a large gathering of people. It's very intimate, and we get to know each other over the journey. They go through the journey together. So I have 12 magnificent people going through the first iteration of it at the moment. Two people from Belgium, a couple from, got some people from the UK, and all down the east coast of Australia on this first cohort.
So what can they expect?
So what they can expect is a lot of different things. So first of all, as I said, if we look at what are the opportunities that are presenting themselves right now for people to level up their life. And so we start by taking a really introspective deep dive individually. So each person will look at all areas of their life and see where they can find opportunities for growth. And that's a lot of introspection and self-reflection. Then with that information, they then have the ability to start looking at, well, where can they make changes? And as you know, I'm a big advocate of mindset and understanding how the mind works. So the very next thing is, how do we align the way we think and the way we feel and our actions to this future that we're wanting, this opportunity that we want to unfold? And so we work through that. And one of my favorite things is we look at how do we master the change? How do we master this new way of being. So at the moment, if you think about what you mentioned around, some restrictions have been lifted and potentially some people have put some really good practices in place. But if they don't maintain them as they move back to potentially going back into the office, they may start to fall away from these things that have been serving them. And so how do they maintain that mastery over their life? So we give them tips and tools on how to master these daily practices or rituals so that there's something they look forward to. And one of my mentors, we were actually talking about him before, Jamie Wheel, he has this amazing analogy around our daily practices and how they can set us up for success. And he uses this analogy that, what we do every day, especially every morning, can serve two purposes for us. One is in times of uncertainty, like, COVID. In times of uncertainty, those morning practices or morning routines become a piece of driftwood that you can hold on to navigate the choppy seas. However, you don't just let go of those things now that everything's good. You still maintain those daily practices and rituals, and instead of them being driftwood, they morph into a surfboard. And now you're able to surf into the future and take control over it and actually get a lot more done because you have these things that you've put in place. So that's how we learn to master our life and master our mental, our physical, our emotional, and our spiritual being. There's a whole lot more. 7 weeks.
Yeah, that's quite interesting because it's everything, isn't it? It's spiritual, it's physical, it's mental, it's all of those things. That's all balance, isn't it? How are you? So how did you? It was obviously warmly received. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was blown away that I then had to put out some more opportunities for people to enroll. So I've made two more opportunities available in May. So, this month, it is now May, for people to jump on board and learn about this. And it's a beautiful journey because I've lived it and I've been through it. So one of the things too that I find really fascinating is one of the modules that we work through together is around how we interact with each other as human beings. So you spoke about that. Some of us find that, where we might be suffering a little bit right now because we don't have the normal interactions that we would have. Yet some people who may be introverts are thriving right now. And I'm going to put my hand up with that one.
I love it.
This was made. Isolation it's got Georgia Ellis written all over it. I manifested it. Okay. But one of the things is that we have these dynamics that we play, and we probably find now that have been or continue to be in some form of lockdown in close quarters with other human beings, that there are some roles and some dynamics that will start to unfold. And these sometimes get us very much caught up in drama. So one of the modules we look at is a framework that was it's come out of David Cartman's his name, and he's got this model around the drama triangle. So we unpack all the roles in drama and show people how to get out of the drama of life and into a more empowered way of being, and how to self-create new relationships and better ways of actually interacting with people. So in these times, those skills, those interpersonal transactional skills, are really important. So you get a little bit of a dose of that as well.
There are people that will come out of COVID. Like I love going to Joy. I love the studio. I love all the people there, but I just love doing my interviews from home. So there will be people that will come out of COVID that will want it to be as it is right now. Because I drive down the street, Georgia, and there's hardly any traffic. And I see parents in the parks playing with their children. And I see kids on bikes laughing and having fun. And I hear the government increasing Centrelink payments and taking care of, mothers that want to put their babies into, childcare. I don't really want to go back to the way it was. I'm quite happy with the way it is now. Obviously, I want to get out and see my family. I miss them immensely. But yeah, there's that too. There's a lot of positive as a response to what we're in. Don't you think?
Yeah, it feels a little bit like, and I agree with you. I'm noticing a lot of this human connection. The park that I walk in every morning used to be just me and my two dogs. Now it's me and the entire neighborhood and their dogs and kids and scooters and bikes. And I'm thinking, where have all these people been for the last 10 years? So it's almost like collectively we've jumped in the DeLorean and pushed back 20 to 30 years and gone back in time to when we used to get out in nature and we used to get out and play together. We used to have cook meals around the kitchen and eat them around the table together. So yeah, there are definitely aspects that would be worth holding on to. And there is a danger for some of us that we can't wait to get back to the old way. And that old way may not serve us, as in the way it was 6 months ago or 4 months ago.
It might not exist.
Yeah.
There might be that too. It just might not exist. Change might have just been, it might be irreversible. We might see, you know, in the property sector, commercial rental buildings, you know, we've got people that have realised they don't need to pay all that money on their commercial rent. And it'll be, you know, people being as productive as they were in their home office as they are in the office, but showing up every day with a smile on their face with their dog at their feet without having to wear a suit or the burden of, you know, having to take public transport. There's a lot about this environment that is so positive. And I think what will happen is children in years to come will reflect back and say, do you remember the time that mum and dad and we were all locked in? Do you remember the time when we all went to school together? And I'm so optimistic about that. And I love the fact, I want to go back to your course. I love the fact that you've been nimble enough to redirect how you deliver your coursework. That's so clever. And the fact that you have that scope into, is it Belgium? You've got the attendees coming from Belgium. Wow.
Two gentlemen from Belgium, two from the UK, and
So are we talking about, is this quantum physics? Are you using some of that quantum physics inside of this? Because I kind of have a look at that smile, because I love it when you do that. Explain to everybody what quantum physics is.
Gee, do we have time?
Yeah, we do this. This is my show. We can do this as long as we like.
So there's a theory around quantum physics, and I'm going to try and keep this as simple as possible. And how I can make this simple is to think about yourself as an energetic being. Okay, so you are an energetic being. You have energy within you. You have enough energy. You could probably light up entire suburb. Okay, so your brain, we know, is an electronic switching station. You know that your heart pumps and it's energy as well. So with quantum physics believes that there is an information field that is full of unlimited potentials. And it's like when you are deciding on something that you're wanting to tune into, and this is not magic, by the way, this is something that you can train yourself to do. If there is an outcome that you would like in your life, if you can align your thoughts and your feelings to that outcome, so if you can align your thoughts, which is your brain's electronic system, and your feelings, which is your heart center, and if you can start taking some action towards that, which is kinetic energy, you now have 3 forms of energy, moving you towards the thing that you want. So it's like, if I would like to tune into Joy FM, I change the dial on my radio, or I don't know, it's digital now. I don't even know what the terminology is.
Whatever. Anymore. You put it on the right station, on the right frequency.
Put on the right station. So out there in the ether is a signal that equals Joy FM. And I'm tuning myself on my radio into that signal to meet it. It's a potential. That's one of hundreds of radio stations that are available for us to tune into. So if you think about the outcomes you want in your life, there are so many different potentials. There's a potential of Elizabeth Jackson, the multimillionaire. There's the potential of Elizabeth Jackson, homeless. There's a potential of you I don't know, there's so many different potentials exist,
It's
but
so many.
it's unlimited. And that's what quantum physics says. And, you know, the potentials are unlimited. So your choice and your superpower is, which potential do you want to dial into? And you dial into that with your thoughts and your feelings and your actions. And in fact, what we're talking about now is something that I don't teach in this particular workshop, but I'm creating the next level where we actually talk a little bit more in depth in that to help you tune into the
So that
potentials that you want.
so this workshop is about identifying who you are now,
Yeah, so we
essentially.
look at your current state of play, look at where you want to go, and give you some tools, some maps, and some models to help you start to navigate, you know, the world around you, so you can start bringing that to your reality. So it's some of the really foundational pieces of being human. So we look at expanding your level of perception. So instead of being very tunnel visioned in the way you view the world, thinking there's a right or a wrong, we help you to start understanding that if you have a higher perception, if you can see things from a higher point of view, that there is generally no right and wrong. It's not or this or that, it's this and that. So how can we start bringing things together? So we start looking at some really exciting, and I think they're pretty awesome frameworks, and they're not all mine. So I love them. I've used them with my clients in my own life, and I love sharing this information with people so that they can definitely level up in their life and step into whatever unfolds after COVID in something that they're choosing to be, not something that they're just bouncing from pillar to post because of the outside world.
So it's changing them from being a reactive human being to a still human being, essentially,
Yeah.
isn't it? An ability just to allow it, just, I guess, the water off a duck's back. And that's nice because some of it, I mean, I'm okay with this, like I said, and I know that you're okay with this. We're true. I'm an extrovert, introvert. I'm much happier at home. But there will be people out there that will genuinely not know how to cross over the border, eh? And something like your course will give them the ability to reconnect to self and then make some positive, decisive decisions about the direction that they want to take. Gee, isn't that good?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, some of the conversations, because part of the program, they also get coaching sessions with me, and most of the current cohort have had a number of coaching sessions, and we sit down and we unpack a lot of things such as procrastination and what procrastination is, how to get over that, because, you know, we have all these things that we want to do, but we procrastinate around it. So there's all these little things that can prevent us from moving forward. So we look at where you want to go, what blocks you from going to where you want to go, and then setting yourself up for success to navigate the relationships and your perception around where you want to go as well.
I can speak to Georgia Ellis and her ability to coach. I have often had her on speed dial. I remember I was stuck in my business once, really badly stuck. And I was at the park and I was lying on the grass with my dogs. So I just did not know what to do. And I called you. And that one single conversation just redirected everything. It kind of and I went from being stressed to being able to just settle in and redirect. So thank you. Thank you for being that person for me. Talk to me about how our listeners can find you and get involved in working with you on this course.
Yeah, beautiful. So the website, bluechipminds.com, so www.bluechipminds.com. If you go on there, and you will find you'll find our current programs, and there will be a link there to Life Reloaded. And shortly in the next couple of weeks, there will be a link there to Life Reloaded Next Level. However, you won't be able to do that unless you do the first level first, because unfortunately, we want to make sure you've got some of the foundations, some of the foundational understandings. Otherwise, you'll
yeah, you don't want anyone crashing the car, right? Because they don't know how to park. Yeah, got it.
Yeah,
Well, that's
exactly.
fair.
But here's the beautiful thing about the 7-week program is you can walk away from that and you will absolutely have the tools in your tool belt to create a better life for yourself and become more resourceful when things like COVID or anything crosses your path that gives you that level of anxiety and uncertainty. You will have the tools to be able to navigate that. You won't need the next level. You probably won't need a coach because you'll have those tools within you. that's the gift that comes with it.
That is a gift. That's a real gift. Georgia Ellis, thank you for joining me on #GotMoney. You are amazing. Keep up the good work. Take care, everybody. Have a good week, and we will be back with you next week on #GotMoney. If you missed any of our shows, you want to see this interview live, please go to gmtv.com.au. And if you want to get hold of Georgia Ellis and do a class, please do so.